I'm going to do a quick review on a Christmas present I bought myself. Oh, it's been probably over a month now. It's a Northern Tools Yellow Jacket, 3-ton, Super Duty. And I'll tell you right off the bat, I made a mistake. It takes a big man to admit he made a mistake, right? This is not enough jack for that Ram 2500 front end. It'll work on the back end okay. But there's only a couple of spots you can put a jack on that truck, on a 4x4. You don't want to put it on the bonnet. Now I know people do it and they say, oh, I do it all the time. Well, that's not recommended to do that. You can do it if you want to, I don't do it. Nonetheless, you're not going to pick up the whole front end of that truck with this jack. This jack was straining to pick up one wheel, the front wheel. Now, this is a 3-ton jack. That's 6,000 pounds. The front end of that truck only weighs 4,800, probably with oil and everything. Let's say 5,000. But and the back end weighs 28. Roughly, the truck total is 7,800 pounds dry weight. So with fluids and full of diesel and everything, you're looking at 80-something hundred pounds. And this is a 6,000 pound jack, 3 tons. So you would think you would easily be able to pick up one wheel at a time. But and they'll pick it up, don't get me wrong. But it's not doing it easily. And that's a disappointment. I wish I would have looked a little harder. I shopped pretty hard before I bought this thing. The Northern Tools manager swore by them. They were on sale for $200 and they normally go for $269. I was talking to the shop manager at the Dodge dealer here, and he says, yeah, we bought some for our shop, you know. So I thought, well, hell, this is what I need, you know. And it's just not enough capacity to pick up the front end of that truck with that big heavy diesel Cummins engine in it. You'll pick it up and you can change a tire and pull your tire and stuff and put a jack stand on it. You can do all that. But I don't feel like it's as safe as it should be. This jack was straining to lift the front end of that truck. So I don't recommend this jack for use with the Cummins. Now, you know, for small cars and my little travel trailer and, you know, just general use, yeah, no problem. It's going to be great. I'm going to use it, you know. Now that's the first problem and the biggest problem. Second problem is they got 5 grease fittings on this thing. You got 2 back here, which lubricate this arm right here, this connection, which is good. That needs lubricating. And then you got 1 right here, which lubricates this, which is good. That needs lubricating. And then you got 1 on each wheel, front wheel. Nothing on the back. And that's where I personally have a problem with it. First of all, you can't get to the Zert fittings because there's some little, I'd call them spokes or reinforcements on the front wheel. And the reinforcements are so close to the Zert fitting that a regular Zert fitting will not get to them. It's just, you know, Chinese technology. They just didn't engineer that properly. Maybe they don't have grease guns in China, or maybe they don't have Zert fittings in China, but you can't get to them, so they're useless. If you want to grease it, pull the wheel off, which is simple enough to do. It's just a regular old roll of bushing, you know. It's not a ball bearing or anything like that. But this is where you need the grease. This has got ball bearing for the swivel, which it comes dry, and then you got a regular bushing type bearing like you got on the front for the wheels. I just threw 2 jacks away because the wheels were locked up on the front. So, you know, that's why. This should have a Zert fitting up here somewhere where you could where you could grease it. But the problem with this thing, and I see a lot of jacks, I did a lot of research before. I didn't just go buy this thing willy-nilly. I see a lot of jacks advertised. It only takes, 8 strokes to get to 2 feet. It gets way up there about this high. I don't know the exact specs. It's down, goes down to 2 point something inches, 3 inches or so, and it goes up to 24 inches. Whatever you need. That kind of stuff to me is who cares? But they advertise it only takes like X amount of strokes to get it all the way up. Well, that's actually, I think that's the problem. I wish it took more strokes to get it up, because you would have, you would be able to apply more force to the jack. It would lift things easily, because you wouldn't have such a long arm probably here. And instead of 8 strokes, if it took me 16 to get to the same height, but I could do it with one finger instead of doing it like that, yeah, I'd much rather have that. You know what I'm talking about? So anyway, it works perfect. It's good jack. Other than that, it's going to be fine for small stuff, but it's not what I thought it would be for the Ram. So I don't recommend you getting this jack if you've been looking at them. Move on to something at least 4 tons, I would say. Now maybe it's just this particular yellow jacket. Most everything nowadays is made in China. A lot of good stuff comes from China. A lot of bad stuff comes from China. It's well made, but it's just got these little idiosyncrasies like the grease fitting, which is really, pretty stupid that you put a grease fitting on there. And I asked the guy at Harbor Freight, I went back over there and I said, what kind of, I thought maybe my grease fitting was too big, like I had too beefy of a grease fitting. So I said, let me see a grease fitting. And I took it up to the display jack in the front, and same problem. It just won't get to the dirt fitting. You can pump all day long and grease will just be coming out everywhere. So he said, oh, you need a needle. You need a needle fitting for that. And he pulls out one of those Lincoln needle fittings like we use to grease the front on the 4x4 on the front axle on our Ram. You know, the one I'm talking about. That accordion, whatever, fitting on the U-joint. And, the one that's a real bitch to get to. And when I saw him pull that out, I was just speechless. It's like, are you actually telling me that that's what I need to grease a damn jack Zert fitting? So it's just kind of funny. It's not a big deal. To me, the big deal is 3 tons don't lift what I thought it would lift on that truck. It should, but it doesn't. And I mean, when I say it doesn't, it does, but it doesn't do it with as much extra capacity as I thought it would have. I mean, I'm bearing down on that thing pretty good to get that front wheel off the ground. And things are making weird noises, and this rubber right here is getting all distorted and everything. And it's a little, it's disappointing, but I'll live through it. I'll get through it. And anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching my video. Until next time, adios.